difficult to officiate because of all of the contact that's happening around her all of the time. That being said, I was in contact with a number of WNBA coaches yesterday about this topic of the officiating in the WNBA.
All right, this is wild. What Rebecca Lobo has to say about the WNBA referees and Caitlin Clark is truly enlightening. After the questionable officiating in the recent Fever vs. Sun game, we witnessed one of the clearest examples yet of what many are calling the Caitlin Clark effect, and it's becoming increasingly difficult for the WNBA's leadership to ignore. The most concerning part is that this could have long-term consequences for the league itself. This isn't just a casual argument, WNBA legend Rebecca Lobo recently said, raising serious concerns. If there's one thing we've learned, it's that the WNBA may be struggling to manage and protect one of its most valuable stars, Caitlin Clark. Lobo even shared insights into what's reportedly being discussed behind closed doors about the entire officiating controversy, a conversation that might not sit well with the league, but needed to happen. Now, let's talk about Rebecca's comments and this evolving Fever narrative, a story that's both exciting and, in some ways, alarming. This video will be brief, but before we dive deeper, don't forget to like the video. Maybe it'll remind the referees to use the whistle they seem to be keeping in their pockets. Be sure to subscribe for more updates on Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever, and the state of the WNBA. The league is clearly in need of revitalization, and it's time to take a closer look at how we got here.
Second-year players clearing out that side of the floor, shooting on Stewie, and then watch the reaction with one another. Stewie's...
Only a few games ago, Caitlin Clark made a triumphant return to the court. She scored 25 points in the first half alone, including 3 mind-blowing logo bombs in just 38 seconds. Her performance was both electrifying and exhilarating, serving as a stark reminder to everyone in the league, not just the fans, of who truly leads this franchise.
Trying to play, but they've got Caitlin Clark. 2 players with incredible up. Clark, another long through.
We learned everything we needed to know in a single game, a true statement performance. Caitlin Clark isn't just vital to the WNBA, she is the WNBA's most powerful force right now. Her absence for 5 games wasn't just a scheduling decision, it turned into a full-blown PR disaster. Viewership dropped sharply, social media engagement plummeted, and national interest all but stalled. Suddenly, any WNBA storyline that didn't involve Caitlin faded into the background. For context, after weeks of declining ratings and mounting pressure, Clark's return gave the league a much-needed boost. Her game against the Liberty drew a peak viewership of 2.8 million, making it one of the most-watched WNBA broadcasts ever. Curious how that compares? The average viewership for the NHL's Stanley Cup Finals was 2.5 million. Let that sink in. Basketball and hockey aren't the same sport, of course, but in a single regular season game, Caitlin Clark outdrew one of the oldest championship series in North American sports. And yet, despite this, WNBA leadership seems to be overlooking just how crucial she is. We'll dive deeper into that later. But one person who hasn't forgotten is Rebecca Lobo, Olympic gold medalist, Hall of Famer, and arguably the sharpest voice in the room right now. Before we get to her explosive comments about officiating, let's hear what she had to say about just how seismic Caitlin Clark's return truly was.
Go with Caitlin Clark singularly being missing for the time she was gone, and ratings tanking, 50% in some cases. And then also she comes back and reminds everyone how spectacular she is.
Now listen carefully to what Rebecca Lobo has to say. Viewers are coming back. It's a simple sentence, but it says a lot. The fact that viewers are coming back implies something obvious yet powerful. They had stopped watching in the first place. And let's be honest, we all know exactly when that drop-off happened. Caitlin Clark's absence triggered a sharp decline in viewership, and everyone saw it. Lobo went on to explain precisely why fans started returning the moment Clark stepped back onto the court.
Talking about the WNBA, so if you needed to sort of have it affirmed to you that it is just her, that the singularity of her is what we are talking about, and her star power, you got it with this absence and then the way she came.
And that's where the problem lies. Caitlin Clark is one of the very few, if not the only, athletes who can consistently hit those outrageous logo bombs with such ease. And that is exactly why fans are paying attention, my friends. These aren't your typical long twos, or even deep threes. These are shots that redefine range. Even players like Natasha Cloud, who hasn't exactly held back in her criticism of Caitlin, have to admit, you have to guard her the second she crosses half court. Ask Rebecca. This just isn't normal.
What does Clark's return mean for the WNBA?
I mean, it means a lot more people are paying attention once again. We know how much Caitlin drives ratings. We know how much Caitlin drives attention on the WNBA. And for her to come back and do it in that way was just...
What's been happening is quite disturbing because we're seeing a pattern so obvious that even seasoned WNBA insiders like Rebecca Lobo are speaking out about it. And it's not just because Caitlin came back. To be honest, this issue has been intensifying throughout the entire previous season and continues now. The league should have been completely shaken up after that game against the Sun, which makes it even crazier. I was sitting there watching it all unfold.
There at the end of the first quarter, when she had that 38-second stretch, she drained deep three after deep three after deep three. I was just sitting there thinking, I've been around this league since 1997. I have never seen that in a WNBA game. Have we seen players go on runs? Of course we have, but not like that. Not where a couple of the three-pointers are from 30-plus feet. It was an exhibition by her.
JCS Sheldon and Marina McBraw essentially tag-teamed Caitlin Clark mid-shot, delivering a heavy body check right after a vicious claw to her face. Now, I'm not saying Caitlin and JCS weren't involved in a heated argument earlier. She definitely was. But here's the problem. Making offensive comments does not give anyone the right to physically assault someone. The league can't turn into a WWE-style carnival and then expect to bounce back from that. Fans, coaches, analysts, and even fellow athletes were left in complete disbelief over what happened.
Ridiculous. It's not often that you're watching the WNBA, that I'm watching it and I'm like, wow, I've just never seen this.
Of course, Caitlin's face claw and shove became the talk of the town. However, the real scandal was the referee's complete disregard for the simmering tension that had been building throughout the entire game.
Angle is wild, folks. There's the eye gouge. Watch Mabry. Boom! I mean, come on.
And the chippiness quickly escalated from a mild simmer to a full-fledged boil. After the game, Stephanie White's anger was so evident it practically showed in her body language. Before saying a single word, she sat down, took a deep, deliberate breath, and then let it all out.
Hey, we would have been crashing out, RT.
Courtney, if somebody ever tackles you like that,
Nobody would ever tackle me like that. They would play with Bridget like that, and then we would have to like take it up there.
okay.
You see what I'm
But
saying?
I'm just saying.
Nobody would ever
If,
play
if,
with me
if,
like
if
that.
that ever happens, you better crash out behind me. Because I'm crashing out behind you.
T,
We can share the same jail cell.
Yes, that's the most damning thing you can say about the referees without actually naming them. While the rest of us are improving, they're not. It's a perceptive observation that captures the frustration many athletes, coaches, and fans have been feeling. The real issue, however, is that this problem isn't limited to just the Sun game. There have been erroneous calls, inconsistent officiating, and noticeably different treatment for players like Caitlin Clark, including a lack of protective calls when it matters most. This unpleasant pattern has been evident from the very start of the season.
Jason Sheldon right here with an entire handful of Caitlin Clark's shoulder and bicep, and she's twisting it. Okay? I mean, this is wild. Here's the zoomed out look, the snapshot. I mean, this league does not have control of...
The Fever's crushing 98-point loss to the Liberty sparked frustration among players and fans, as biased officiating favored New York with questionable fouls, while Indiana rarely got calls. The free throw disparity was glaring, and the final seconds included missed or dubious calls, especially a clear foul by Natasha Cloud on Caitlin Clark. Stephanie White's explosive reaction to the situation was ironic, as she wasn't penalized for shouting at refs after a previous game, but was this time. The league seemed to quietly acknowledge its mistakes, highlighting growing frustration across WNBA players.
The game has changed so much. Players are faster, they're better, they're bigger, they're stronger. They're as good as they've ever been, they're as athletic as they've ever been. The game is fast now. Things are happening quickly. Everybody's getting better, except the officials.
Referees aren't brushing off complaints about rough play anymore. Players are openly warning each other about getting hurt. Rebecca Lobo tied all this directly to Caitlin Clark, saying the WNBA risks losing a star if she gets injured, something everyone from networks to fans knows. Lobo revealed that every coach she spoke to agrees officiating is a serious problem and has lost control. This forces players to play more physically, even at their own risk, because they can't rely on refs to protect them. The obvious fouls against Clark show the danger of this approach. It's like letting drivers speed with no highway patrol. It no longer seems accidental. The league appears to be silently signaling it won't protect Clark, evident in the cheap shots and mounting frustration. And the season is only just beginning.